LeRoy or LeRoy?
Oh, it doesn't matter.
But what does your family say?
So that's funny because we're split.
Your family?
Oh yeah, 100%. So the northern side. So my family's from New Orleans.
Okay.
And then if you're up here in Kansas City, you say LeRoy. But if you're down in New Orleans, you say LeRoy.
I mean French.
Right.
Yeah,
and then my family that lives in Colorado, half of them say LeRoy, half of them say LeRoy.
What do you say?
I say LeRoy.
Okay.
Because I was born in Atlanta, but my parents moved here when my parents moved here when I was 3 months old.
Okay.
So I've always been in Brookside.
I would tend to lean towards that just for Beastie Boys purposes.
Yeah.
They're a little,
absolutely.
Full,
yeah, absolutely.
But
Yo Leroy and then Bruce Leroy is the other pop culture reference.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
No, both of those were always in my wheelhouse as a kid.
So hopefully you can help me remind you to sign the wall when you're done.
Sure.
It's a thing that I forget frequently.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
But we're sitting down with Andrew LeRoy for episode 43 of Badass Records podcast. What's going on?
Not much, man. Happy to be here.
Thank you. It's good to see you. Very glad you are here. And we mentioned, we were just a second ago, we're talking about vinyl and a buddy that kind of got you back into.
Got me back into it.
I have made 2 purchases. I inherited small discards of discards when my stepmom was getting rid, so I had a few. But I went to Records with Merit in Westport and bought like 5 records and a T-shirt, and it was over $200. I was like, what in the absolute? And then that was a few months ago, and then I went to Mills, I think it's Mills, and also in Westport, and same deal, just insanely expensive. And I was like, I don't know. This is a very hard justification to start this right now. But point being, I think this is the first, in total coincidence, episode where I have a copy of an album that.
Oh, do you?
I mean.
Oh, because I could have brought some of mine too.
No, just sitting right there.
That's an awesome album. That's an amazing album.
So
Kinda Blue.
Okay. So your folks.
And if you're looking for vinyl though that's cheap, go to Seventh Heaven or the used books. What is it called? Used books and CDs. The thing that's right there off of Westlake, right there, Southwest Traffic Way, and it's by a First Watch.
Okay.
They have sections, and you can get vinyl.
Oh, also in Westport.
Yeah, you can get used vinyl for
when's the last time you went looking in Seventh Heaven?
Oh, probably a month, 2 months ago.
And are you going like these are the albums I'm looking for, or are you just shopping?
I'm just going like it's so massive. Seventh Heaven is so massive that I just kind of go and they have a huge blues and jazz section, which is different than a lot of other sections.
Yeah.
And so you could find some really obscure fun stuff there.
And do you like for me the 2 times that I've been, it's like I know walking in the door that if I'm going to be financially responsible at all, I've got to be quick because the longer I'm in there, the more I'm going to buy. Do you find?
Yeah. So what I find is I'm always picking 10 records and I'm always just shuffling and be like, okay, do I take this one? Do I not? Like I limit myself to 10 records at a time. But then I'll trade, like cards, like trade some in, trade some out. Depending on what put some back. Like, maybe I don't want this one. Maybe I'll want this one instead. I kind of started doing that because again, I went with Kevin Kelly, the guy who got me back into vinyl, and that's kind of how he did it. And he would be like, this rap album, we could get this one anywhere. You can't get this one, so you should get this one.
Oh, wow.
Type of stuff.
How often are you grabbing a new?
If I'm lucky, it's once a month. If Gilly lets me do it in the budget.
Yeah.
Because again, as you see, it can get pricey. But,
yeah.
But it can also get fairly cheap. Because garage sales have them. And,
sure. Will you stop if you see a garage sale?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just especially if it looks like it's an old person.
Right.
Because they'll have a ton of old vinyl. I found some I have now 7 or 8. I haven't even listened to all of them. Jimi Hendrix records because some old dude was a huge Jimi Hendrix fan. Man. And so it's just like a ton of live shit that I didn't, know or haven't heard all the way. It's, a lot of covers and stuff. But It's pretty cool.
So where did your folks meet?
My folks?
Yeah.
Tulane.
Yeah. At school?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're both, you come from 2 smart people?
Yeah. Yeah, they met at Tulane and then got married, and then they were in Atlanta while my dad was working on his master's degree, had me, and then moved here.
What part of Atlanta?
That's a great question. I have no idea.
I was there from suburb 82 to 85.
Yeah, I think I was actually born on one of the Peachtree streets.
Oh,
like
wow.
Some of those where it's like downtown. I think maybe I don't know.
So
my mom would know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how this happens, but I feel like every year, fall sports wind down, and you're like, a moment before hoops and everything. Right. No, it's like the next week, So last week. Monday, Thursday practice for my boy, and then this week they're at East, both of them for the thing.
That's where
and then
Ani and Lola are too.
And then Adeline has 2 evaluations on Thursday.
Two.
Yeah,
we just have one.
And then he has practice that night, and then they have he has a preseason game. I'm like, oh my god, like I feel crazy just looking at the calendar. But so practice. So I guess Thursday's practice was at Prairie.
Yeah.
And I went and stayed for a few. And somebody was like, did you? And I was like, yeah, this was my final stop of 6 grade schools.
Yeah.
And, then, of course, after that, it's on to middle school.
Right.
So it's a change again. But one of my buddies was like, 6? And I was like, yeah, man. And he was like, how many in Atlanta? And I said, 2. My mom remarried and we moved there, and they bought a lot and were building a house. So we lived in like this apartment while it was being built.
Yeah.
And when we moved into it, we had to switch schools in the middle of 2nd grade for me, but I was at Peachtree Elementary School.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, Tulane is it famous for being a law program or what?
It has a good law school.
Okay. Something else too, though, right?
My dad will tell you it's the architecture, but that's also because he went there
for
architecture. Right. So I don't know. It's always they laugh and call it the Harvard of the South. That's how they refer to it as.
So they're in Atlanta. They have you, and then here.
Yeah, and then like my dad gets a job 3 months later here in Kansas City.
Okay,
and so they move here. He'd come up here my dad's actually born and raised in New Orleans.
Oh, wow.
And so he would come up on the train to Kansas City to see his aunt. His aunt helped get him a job here. And
okay.
Then we've been in Brookside ever since.
Do you have siblings?
Yeah, one. I got one little brother.
Okay.
So he's 3 years in age, 2 years in school.
Okay. And your folks still live in Brookside?
My dad does.
Okay.
My dad and my mom separated when I was in law school, and my mom now lives in North Carolina, kind of near Asheville.
Okay.
So,
do you see her? Yeah.
All the time.
Okay.
We're real close.
You go down and she comes up?
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah, and she'll come up here for like 2 weeks at a time.
Oh,
just to hang out with the kids.
Stay with you?
Stay with me or stay with my brother.
Oh, okay.
And
so you guys have an extra room you can.
Yeah, well, with us, she just kind of sticks. She kind of just stays with the girls or whatever. But with my brother, he's got a different room.
Okay,
he's over in Johnson County.
Okay. Gosh, so they split late for you.
Yeah,
way late.
Yeah.
Were they playing music when you guys were kids growing up?
Oh, all the time.
What were both of them?
Yeah,
both of their tastes.
Yeah, but. It's more of my dad's taste.
Okay.
I think my mom just kind of went along with whatever it was playing.
Yeah.
So it was, it was always the Beatles, of course, were huge with that. My dad, that generation. Bob Dylan, Righteous Brothers.
Nice.
That type of stuff is the stuff that we would always listen to, and it was real good stuff.
What are you like? An 83?
I'm 78.
You're 78?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I was born in 1978. Yeah.
Okay, I had no idea.
Yeah.
And what about Gilly?
She's 77. She's a younger or older than me.
You guys look fantastic.
Try, right?
So is this? This must have been at least for a minute vinyl that your folks were playing.
Oh yeah, that's what you were talking about. How yours started when you inherited the small collection.
Yeah,
that was for me. Was my dad basically gave? So he moved for a while. He moved from Kansas City because he got another job after my parents divorced to Detroit.
Oh,
and when he left me. his vinyl. And that's how I initially,
all of it.
Yeah, that's how I initially got into it.
What kind of numbers are we talking?
Oh, it was only something like about 65 records. So, but it was great.
Not nothing.
Yeah, so it was great, but it was all older stuff, and it was great. Good, basically 70s, 60s and 70s records. And then I kind of lost interest. Again, when I went to law school, Gilly and I moved around and stuff, and
it's not lightweight stuff to move
at all. No, not at all. And so
one crate, you're like, Jesus,
yeah,
there are rocks in here.
Yeah, so I actually ended up giving it to my brother.
All of it.
Yeah,
in one transaction.
Yes, because after law school, I had a job opportunity. This was before people were like they are now, where they're looking for jobs everywhere. Back in 2005, there weren't that many jobs.
Right.
So I had this opportunity to move to St. Louis, but I had to be there in like 2 weeks. And I was like telling my brother, I was like, dude, I just got to move. I just put everything in my Civic, and Gilly met me with her car, and we just moved. And I just was like, I don't have room for the records, man. Just take the records.
Before that, was he stoked to get them?
Yeah, I think so.
Was he bummed that he hadn't gotten them originally, or
no? It wasn't so much that. Dan doesn't. My brother doesn't kind of care about things like that. So
okay, cool.
He has them now, and he puts them on and stuff, but he has not expanded the collection. I think one record. At all.
that sounds like
yeah.
Maybe it should come back to you.
It's fine.
Right.
It is what it is. He's enjoyed it. He's got the family heirloom. It's fine.
So you guys, you have a turntable and speakers and whatnot, and
yeah.
I mean, is there tunes being played frequently at your place? Or
yeah. So it's funny. I had 2 stories with that. I used to have another older turntable, and I actually. I don't know if you remember Tom Pickert from
so, R.I.P.
Yeah, so Tom was a good friend.
Or as the GM of Up Down would say, who was episode 14, R.I.P. in peace.
R.I.P.
Silly. Anyway, sorry.
Oh, you're right. So Tom was over at my house. He was drinking beers with Nick Freeman, and he was coming over, and we were just kind of tasting beers and hanging out. And he actually ended up breaking my record player.
Yikes!
Like, because he was fairly drunk,
Lots of tasting.
Yeah. And so that happened like 2 weeks before he died, and I was on the phone with him, when he got shot.
No,
so, yeah, it was crazy. It was
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Did she just pull?
He just got convicted.
Oh no, I'm sorry. She has a 6th grader.
Yep.
And no, I thought she had a boy.
They have 2 boys.
Yeah, okay.
Emily's the wife.
You're right. 6th grade boy. But is he not at St. Peter?
They go to Pembroke now, I think.
Oh, okay.
They can afford it. And,
sure. So I'm sorry I cut you off. He just got.
Anyway, so he his killer just got convicted.
I didn't know that stuff was still going on.
Yeah,
I thought
forever.
he was already I knew he'd gotten arrested. But I thought he was just back out in the wild and doing his own thing. Yeah. He's been detained this whole time.
Yeah, he's been in jail the whole time. So
that's great.
Yeah, it's awesome. So, but anyway, Tom broke the record player.
Yeah.
And so for about a year or so, I honestly didn't replace it, and I just didn't play any records.
You were on the phone with him?
Yeah.
What was? And this is somebody from because he was an attorney.
Yeah.
So somebody from a previous case or
we were both we're both on the same side. We're plaintiffs attorneys, and we're small business owners, and so we collaborate a lot, and we became close friends. He had gone to high school with Gilly. O'Hara. And so then he and I met, and we became close friends. He and his business partner Ryan, and Jose, my business partner, like the 4 of us, we go out to dinner, we'd talk about cases, we'd work on cases.
Sure.
I'd help him pick a jury, he'd help me pick a jury, that type of stuff.
Okay.
And so we were on the phone that day that he got shot because we were talking about he had just won a jury trial at Johnson County, and I wanted to hear about it. So he was just telling me about it. And
it's like before school, right?
Yeah,
in the morning on the porch or
correct.
Something?
Yeah, and so he was just on the phone kind of as we do, walking back and forth up and down his walk while he's talking to me, and that's when he got shot.
And that guy rolled up while you were on the phone with him?
Yeah.
I mean,
shot him.
How much did you hear?
I heard him get shot. Yeah, it sucks.
Whoa, dude.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
I mean, did he say anything like?
Yeah, I mean he
like help or there's this crazy guy or
he said, "Did you hear that?" Because the first shot missed, and so he's like, "Hey, did you hear that?" And I said, "No, what's going on?" And he's like, "It heard like a gunshot," and I said, "What?" And then the next thing you know, I hear this time like, whoosh, and then you just hear Tom hitting the ground, and so
he didn't see the dude coming.
He got shot in the back of the head, like right back here.
Oh God!
So it was like his back was turned.
Are you still?
We're working through it.
No. Are you still in touch with?
Not as much. Death does strange things to people, and Emily's a very private person.
Okay.
She's a wonderful person. So just pull their kids out of St. Peter's, and I think
after this last year, or has it been a couple?
No,
of
it was
years?
just after this last year. But I think just moving on and things like that.
Like I don't want to dwell in this anymore. Okay,
Yeah.
not because there was stuff in fifth grade last year that was like a problem, like bullying stuff.
Oh, there was? Okay.
Yeah,
and I don't even know more.
I mean, some like Kirchner's and Beecham's both pulled their boys.
Oh, really?
Because it was too much. It had gotten to be too much, and I didn't
realize that.
there was some murmurings, and then all of a sudden, husband and wife like kind of divided and conquered with a call list.
Okay.
And he called me, and she called Anna, and hey, blah blah blah, and I was like, I'm sorry, what is happening? And then there was an email from Angie.
Oh, wow.
And I replied, and I was like, I feel so. This is normally how I find like, what's happening?
I'm out of left. Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, I feel terrible. Like, what? And she's like, no. If it would have involved your child, you would have been told.
Okay.
So I was like,
yeah, thank God.
Jesus Christ. Like, anyway, and we just had conferences, and my daughter's teacher was like, last year so they think that like bullying kind of started in third grade with some of the girls.
Okay.
And then things were weird because we were remote, and then it was like this mix of hybrid.
Right.
And then last year was the first year back. And everybody's just whatever. So he was like all year last year, just the noise coming from fifth grade. I was like, oh my God, next year is going to suck. Yeah. And he's like, but it's chill. They're all really, really great. Cause like these 6 boys left. And I was like, I don't know if that is a fair, just because 6 boys are gone doesn't mean that they were 6 boys making a lot of the noise. People I think are leaving for different reasons. But yeah, she posted, I think there's a Facebook group for my daughter's grade, and it was just one of these like, hey, if anybody needs any some uniform thing. Sure, and I was like, oh, I could definitely, it's my absolute nightmare. And this time of year, because it's like you sort of think that you have appropriate inventory as school ends. Yeah. And then, of course, they grow for summer, and you got a couple months, and then it's no more shorts, pants, and everything's tight, and it's like scrambling, especially with all the back and forth. Anna's a block behind me, and we have all these transitions across the week, and clothes are just constantly on the move. But I was like, oh, man, I would love it. And she was like, cool, let me know your address and a time. And I was doing something, and she, like, pulled up, dropped him on the porch, gone.
That sounds right.
And I was like, wow. Yeah. Not even a, hey, thanks. Nope.
No.
But I was like, she's got plenty of stuff.
Yeah. That sounds like a very typical story.
Right. So, I mean, what's next for this dude?
Oh, he's in jail for the rest of his life. So
and there's nothing can get in there and undo that?
No, he got sentenced. He actually hasn't been sentenced yet, but he was convicted of murder in the first degree, and they didn't go for the death penalty. So, and he's like 80 years old. So
he was just disgruntled because of a case that affected him.
Tom got a judgment against him for like $3 million because previously the crazy guy had shot this other guy's leg off.
That's right.
So
like chasing him or something weird.
Yes, he was. So he has a business. It's crazy. He has a business that makes baby toys or baby furniture.
Down
down to like the West Bombs or somewhere around there, and he got a call that, hey, there's an intruder. So instead of calling the cops, which is what you should do,
yes, I remember reading that.
He went and went
rogue.
Yeah, with his like a duffel bag full of guns, and then the guy starts running away, and he just opens fire and he blows off the guy's leg, and so Tom sued him.
I mean, so this is about money.
Yeah, that's all this guy cares.
So you shoot somebody in the back of the head because they cost you money for an absolutely insane.
Because you shot somebody else's leg off. We're ridiculous, right? Like the guy's a psychopath, and all he cares about is money. So, but that's where he's getting hit because all his money's getting taken away.
So
the judgment.
I mean, like the case that Tom. Whatever the 3 million, like whoever that person will get that money.
Yeah, so they're collecting that, and then on top of it, now Tom's family brought a case against him.
I'm sure,
and so they're collecting that money. Also.
And that's probably got to be a huge.
It's a multi-million-dollar.
Every time I see that, I'm like, well, I mean, what happens if that person doesn't have that? Then what?
Right.
What's the point?
Correct, but this guy is very rich and he does have it.
Okay, good.
And so again, because he's crazy, he hid a lot of it. So sometimes he buried it.
No,
like
in his yard.
Serious, yes. And so
what is
this lawyer? There's an older lawyer that's collecting this stuff.
Not funny.
No, but it's collecting this stuff, and every once in a while he'll get a phone call. And it's something like out of the movies, and he'll get a phone call because they found some more stuff using X-rays and stuff, and they'll be like, "Hey, here's more duffel bags full of cash," or "Hey, here's some bars of gold." I'm dead serious.
Like, so has his property been like taped off, and you can't?
And they've been searching.
And is it just like on a regular old residential street?
No. It's out in the boonies. Like it's.
That's right. I remember that now.
In fact, I don't even know it's in Jackson County. It's probably so far down.
So they don't have to worry about somebody coming and nosing around.
No, they
can just sort of leisurely, thoroughly search.
Correct.
You know?
Yeah, it's far away. So anyway, getting back. So he broke my first. So I didn't listen to tunes for a year.
Good job. Yes.
So he didn't listen to tunes for. I didn't listen to tunes for a year because of that.
Yeah.
And then I just got this awesome turntable that's that I thought was all Bluetooth and everything, and I was really excited about it. That being said, my friends who also have turntable stuff, they were having trouble with their Bluetooth. And
I don't understand how Bluetooth would work on a turntable.
It doesn't work that well.
But what's the desire?
Well, the desire is so you can bring the speaker anywhere you want. So instead of like I'm stuck, my two speakers that I have are in my living room, and so I can hear it in my kitchen and my living room, and that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, I play it loud enough to where you can hear it anywhere.
But
the idea was you could bring the speakers anywhere. Anyway, it wasn't working, and so now Gilly got me some really nice speakers, and so it's just right in my living room, kind of off the side, and then I have one speaker poured towards the kitchen, and so because we love to cook, and so we probably play vinyl every day.
And is it always you putting it on, or does everybody?
No, Ani likes to pick records, and my youngest girl, middle one, Lola, she loves to pick records.
So you got a little something for everybody in the mix. Nice.
Yeah. I don't have any of the girly pop yet. Like that's
immediately. I was like, you got some kids pop?
No, I don't have any of that. That I'll tell you, if I could, and I will eventually, but I'll probably get them a Lizzo record. I don't mind her music.
Sure.
I think Lizzo's pretty good.
Did they go see her?
No, they did not.
Seems like everybody ranted and raved about how amazing.
I agree. I can't have that be my kid's first concert.
I mean, maybe if they were a skosh older, maybe.
Yeah, I go back and forth with Gilly on that all the time. Like, what do they want their first concert to be? Because that was like, Gilly and I have such impactful, like, our first concert, like, stories, like I remember going with my dad's friend, because I was friends with like the boys, just the neighborhood boys, how we do in Brookside.
Yeah.
But I was like kind of one of the younger ones, and so they were like in 8th grade and I was in 5th grade.
Okay.
Like when it went down, and we went and saw the Beastie Boys and Run DMC at Kemper Arena.
What?
And it was amazing.
What?
Right? Yeah. Like that was my first ever concert. Right?
Wow.
Like, how do you?
Good job setting a low bar for yourself.
Right.
Every other show, you're like, this sucks.
Yeah.
Your friends are like, what? What's wrong with you?
Like, this is the worst show. Yeah. You don't want your first car to be a Corvette.
No.
Look there.
No. Wow.
So that's how it was. That's how it was for me. And then Gilly Gilly's first show, if I'm remembering correctly, and she will correct me, I think was like it was like Pearl Jam or something, like when they were younger coming around here and stuff, and she had a wonderful experience. She didn't get
Day on the Hill in Lawrence.
Yeah,
I was
that's
there.
what it was. Yeah. So, so both of those are so like great. I'm like, I can't have my daughters go to like Harry Styles or Lizzo or
what's the story with Harry Styles? He's everywhere on social media, but I couldn't tell you.
Thank God that means you and I are refined in our musical taste. I couldn't tell you one song he sings.
So you hear a bunch of stuff that mostly Dad, but also Mom are playing. Was there a first acquisition for you, or a first record that you kind of fell in love with that was outside of their network of albums?
Oh, I mean, yeah. I remember going to Penny Lane Records, used to be here in Westport.
Yeah.
And so then
reaching back.
Right. So I go immediately after that concert.
Okay.
I go and I bought License to Ill, and I brought Raising Hell, and then I bought that one was not Fear of a Black Planet by Public Enemy. It was someone else.
Takes a Nation. Oh,
yeah, the one before Fear of Black Planet.
I don't know either.
I get it confused. But I bought a Public Enemy album.
Okay.
And then.
And you're like what? How old are you?
Oh, I'm in
fifth grade.
grade.
Okay,
Yeah, fifth
right.
grade.
And your parents were like, "That's cool."
Yeah, totally. They were good with it.
That's
all.
right in the heart of the explicit content.
Correct.
PMRC.
So they listened to it all, and they were okay with that. And then I, of course, also got Bon Jovi, Slippery When Wet.
Okay.
And so that was where I was in my life.
I mean, we all have a thing that's like that.
Right. And that's where I love that album. I still love that album, Slippery When Wet.
There are very few things in life that upset me more than being at a bar well into the evening and Living on a Prayer comes on. And everybody, I'm just like, fuck off.
Dude, Bon Jovi is our Journey, right? That's what it is.
That too.
It's just like Journey. That's our bad rock anthem.
Yeah.
That's Bon Jovi.
I was kind of still tolerating the presence of the occasional Journey until the World Series against the Giants and Steve Perry's out there. I was like, somebody shoot that guy right in the mouth. I mean, not right. It's a poor joke, but
no, I got you.
So, have any of your shows since your first show even come close?
Yeah, okay. I mean, again, so I went. Lollapalooza was awesome. Again, I can't remember what year that was, but it was the year that the lineup went P-Funk, Beastie Boys, then Tribe, P-Funk,
oh my God,
Beastie Boys, then the Smashing Pumpkins. Smashing Pumpkins sucked because everyone was so tired because they'd dance their butt off to those three. And Smashing Pumpkins was like, "Get up," and we're just like,
"Take that one too."
I just wanna relax and chill out now,
right?
Play a little guitar and put me to sleep, please. I'm exhausted.
Well,
but that was an awesome show.
Nice. So when you hit me up with your list, there's a pretty interesting range, not only of genre but of time.
Yeah.
So if we start chronologically,
sure.
Miles Davis, Kind of Blue, all the way back to 1959.
Yeah.
And I just revisiting this record, I couldn't get away from this idea of, and I think mostly, I know there's lots and lots of lovers and students of jazz out there, but I think mostly people are like, nah, like it's just not. But I can't think of any sort of mundane household task or chore that this record wouldn't make better.
Right.
It's just, I mean, and especially Freddie Freeloader is track 2. That one, like, everybody's got to appreciate that song on some level.
When you listen to that cover to cover, you'll hear that this album is in so many movies. It's
for real?
It's all over the place. And when you just start, if you get familiar with the sounds that are on here, you'll see that. And for me, I found this album. I didn't find this album until I was in college.
Okay.
And I found it on
Same.
a whim. Yeah. And then that for me has been when I work whether it was study or now that I practice law, when I'm reading and when I'm needing to like concentrate, it has to be jazz, and in general, it has to be Miles Davis or someone from Miles Davis's quartet. Whether it's Coltrane or I'm blanking on the trombonist, but it has to be somebody who was just kind of related to him and what he does,
right?
Because that it's like just smooth enough yet poppy enough to keep you going and relaxing.
He had two quintets.
Yeah.
And the first one was Coltrane et al, and the second one was like way later and had like Herbie Hancock.
Yeah, Herbie Hancock. That's what it was.
But his discography is like insane.
It's nuts.
He just like, I mean, I want to say like upwards of 75. I mean, something.
Yeah.
Just like, pull it up digitally. It scroll.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit, dude.
Yeah. And for me, it's the older stuff. Like once he started getting into the 70s, when he starts getting a little more using electronics and techno type stuff to go with his horns and stuff, it just kind of lost it for me. I like the older stuff.
I saw a quote where he was like, Kind of Blue and The Birth of Cool and Bitches Brew, like those were absolutely perfect for then.
Yeah.
But I don't care about them now, and it's always about just looking forward and doing something new.
Yeah.
And to do this, I guess the dudes were given a sketch of, what was it? Sketches of scales and melody lines on which to improvise. No idea what they were going to record. They just went, and that was the result. What?
And he thought he was just randomly going to make just like a one-off, like, hey, I'll do a solo album, no big deal, while I'm in between, my groups.
Yeah.
And he ends up making this.
So you got Coltrane on sax, Cannonball Adderley also on sax, Bill Evans piano, Paul Chambers bass, Jimmy Cobb drums. Stephen Thomas Erlewine, his name, as far as music review people, I see it more often than most. So he said, Kind of Blue isn't merely an artistic highlight for Miles Davis, it's an album that towers over its peers, a record generally considered as the definitive jazz album, a universally acknowledged standard of excellence. Why does it possess such mystique? Perhaps because the music never flaunts its genius. It's the pinnacle of modal jazz. Tonality and solos build from the overall key, not chord changes, giving the music a subtly shifting quality. It may be a stretch to say that if you don't like Kind of Blue, you don't like jazz, but it's hard to imagine it as anything other than a cornerstone of any jazz collection, which is a huge mouthful, but I think he really hits on some... When you start talking about tonality and chord changes and key, like, I'm not picking up all that.
Right.
But, I mean, it's really hard to imagine, like, even today, the most talented collection of go make something better than that,
right?
From a straight jazz mindset. It's just
it's again not nearly as technical as he wrote that piece there, but what you're saying is, for me, it's like it's like water, like it kind of washes and it comes and it goes, and it's just soothing, like it's almost like taking a bath, and you're just kind of like, okay, that's cool, and then you kind of get into it, and then I'm able to work that way.
Yeah.
And that's why this is album. I mean, I listen to this album once or twice a week. Like,
seriously?
Yeah, that's all. I listen to it constantly.
Just like
digitally. So I have it on vinyl, but then at my office I just throw it on my phone onto my, Bluetooth speaker and listen to it.
Both my kids have sound machines in their room, and he just turned 9. She'll be 12 next month, and like, I would struggle to like identify more than a couple of nights where they've obviously have sleepovers and travel and whatever, but most nights of their life it's been on. I've all like way earlier, I was like, hopefully this doesn't create a thing that when they're older and like in a relation, I gotta have the fan and anyway. One night a handful of months ago, I was kind of tossing and turning, so I threw a white noise on my phone on, and now it's like every single night. And this is kind of like If I don't feel like subjecting myself to shuffle, or if I'm just not in the mood for anything in particular, like this feels like the perfect default to just have, I mean, a couple times a week. I mean, just washing over you like white noise or water, and
it's good stuff.
Reset, ground zero.
Totally. Yeah, it mellows you out, especially like, I mean, you talk about it. We're running around with kids constantly to sporting events, to, all their other events. And then, let alone we also have to jobs, and work and all that.
Yeah.
And so it's like, it's nice to just kind of sit and
yes.
just kind of be quiet and just have this in the background.
Well, we almost leap 30 years forward to Raising Hell, Run DMC, 1986. Russell Simmons and Rick Rubin produced. I was like, really?
Yeah.
Okay. First multi-platinum hip-hop album. I mean, third of 7 records for them. And, I can't believe It's Tricky, My Adidas, and Walk This Way. I always think about the idea of, because I don't know about musicians today, like, I don't know if the mentality, but this whole notion of building to the level of notoriety where somebody's going to pony up for you to go in a studio, and they're going to take a huge cut of any revenue that it generates, but at the end of the day, you have your album.
Right.
So I always think about, credits, is everybody equally satisfied with the way credits appear, the track listing, and for them to have those 3 bam, bam, bam right in a row and then be as huge as they were.
Right.
It's like,
no, it's a great album.
It's really great.
All the way through. For me, again, I was in 5th grade or so. And so hearing that and hearing the sound they have, I love how they both play off each other in the rap. And then it was also, the other thing is the B-side of that album is it's got some fun stuff.
Yeah.
Again, being a 5th grade boy, having a song, I mean, again, it's not PC now or whatever, but having a song called Dumb Girl, talking about how dumb girls are, like, oh my God, it's perfect. Like,
yes, so they are.
Yeah. Like, come on. This spoke to me, and then, the You Be Illin is another just fun.
So one of the reasons I was pleased to learn just a minute ago your age. So 85, we come back from Atlanta, Royals win the series. That was super, super fun. But the Chiefs were so bad back then. And I was talking about it recently. Ed and Steve Sable, NFL Films, came, and I guess the brass was like, if there's any deep pass plays, please don't follow the ball with the camera, because they didn't want
to see the world to see.
So we had this weird year where like our special teams were like insane, and we like snuck into a playoff spot. John Makovic's the coach, and Frank Gans was the special teams coordinator. And then I think after that season, Makovic was fired, and I don't know if it was Q104 or KY1, they made a spoof of You Be Illin.
Yes.
You Be Fired.
Yeah, I totally remember that. Yes. I totally remember that. And it was Q104.
Okay.
That's when Q104 was poppy.
It was.
Before, I think it's country now or something.
That was,
I was in the day.
Trying to record tracks. For
no, totally. I totally remember that.
And like, I know now I can picture how one with all the technology, but it was slick.
Yeah.
And it had to, some scratches.
Tables was great.
Yeah.
Master J is great. There's still stuff like now when you listen to some of the DJs like Mixmaster Mike and some of the other DJs, Jam Master J definitely had it. You could just see the influence of what he was doing and how he was doing it.
Well, I mean, not only that, but then you have the, all the... You like that?
The beatboxing.
Who was? It certainly wasn't called that back then.
Yeah,
but
I don't know
who was doing that before them. I mean, there were other outfits I think making oral noises, but nobody was like putting out a bar or a verse.
Definitely not getting to us here in Kansas City.
Not at all.
I'm sure people in New York knew what was going on, but definitely not to some Midwestern kid in Brookside.
Right.
No, it was that. My favorite. I think the other favorite part of that album is what you were saying with the Aerosmith song,
right?
Because that help me with the name of the song.
Walk This Way.
Walk This Way. Because with again that kind of blended. I'm loving Bon Jovi and I liked Aerosmith. And Poison. There was fun.
Yeah,
it was like fun. Essentially pop metal. But it was great and. To blend that together, again, it was like,
and the video.
Video was badass, man.
Steven Tyler putting his head through the wall,
And it took me this was high school when I finally put it all together and realized that was an Aerosmith song that Run DMC had then rapped, and I was like, looking back, you're like, that's really cutting edge and awesome that Run DMC was able to turn that into a rap essentially.
So. Kind of Blue you discovered in college.
Yeah.
I don't remember if you said exactly how. It was just
Kind of Blue in college. It was just flat out in the dorms.
Okay.
Somebody else was listening.
Wow.
To it, and I was like, this sounds good. I went to KU.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah, we're Ellsworth.
Yeah. Okay.
6th floor Ellsworth.
Okay. Do you still have friends from all of your college years? Or?
No. So the 6th floor of Ellsworth, I met about 8 guys, and we've been close friends ever since.
Nice.
I didn't join a fraternity or frat. Because I met them and I was like, we went and got a house.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Like just right over there off Ohio. And we're just like, so the 8 of us, we got a house and hung out and had a great time.
Yeah.
Because it was just like, there was no reason.
Somebody rolled into Lawrence as a freshman with Kind of Blue in tote.
Yes.
That's kudos to whoever's parents.
Yeah. It was definitely somebody whose dad had given them their collection. Same type of thing as might have been. They brought theirs. I didn't bring mine to college.
Right.
I left mine here.
Yeah. Keep it safe from shenanigans.
Right. Yeah.
What about Raising Hell? So Raising Hell because of the show.
The show and Penny. So I bought it at Penny Lane. That was
nice.
That was it was my first purchase.
So
amazing.
You mentioned Mixmaster Mike. Somebody on a previous episode mentioned that Mixmaster Mike was like he wanted pretty badly to be sort of part of the Beastie Boys, and so I guess maybe he was leaving voicemail messages with,
it's on Hello Nasty, I think.
Okay.
They sample and they show. He would just send Ad Rock or Mike D just leave it on a thing, and he would just scratch on there and leave him messages as he'd have the scratching in the words. Like he would not talk anymore. He'd just have it be like my turntables go wah 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 wah. So it's he was. He wanted to be a part of it, and when DJ Hurricane left, or kind of went on to doing his own thing, because he's bigger in the hip hop scene, I think, than most people realize. DJ Hurricane, who used to be the DJ for the Beastie Boys,
I didn't realize they had one prior.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah. So he was their first one.
Okay,
so he was the guy in the background, always spinning stuff. Was DJ Hurricane.
Okay,
and he was all the way through. Let's see. He was through the first 4 albums.
Okay.
So through Ill Communication, I think is his last album.
Oh, right. Hello Nasty is after that.
And that's when Mixmaster Mike comes on.
Okay.
Because then DJ Hurricane, he had his solo album, and then he just worked with a bunch of different artists.
Okay.
And just kind of doing his own thing. And so anyway, then they got Mixmaster Mike, and he's great.
Yeah. So Raising Hell's 86, Paul's Boutique from 89, also on your list.
Yes.
I mean, were you currently dialed in with the Beastie Boys as their records are coming out? Because for me and some other folks, Licensed to Ill, impossible to avoid. It was huge. It was everywhere. But Paul's Boutique kind of slipped past, and I didn't discover it until several years later. Were you?
No, I when it came out, I bought it.
Okay.
And I loved it.
Yeah.
And that's actually how I found 3 or 4. So I went to Miege high school, and how I found 3 or 4 of my close friends was we were some of the only guys I knew that were actually listening to this, and we were like, "This is amazing! How is this not on the radio all the time? It's so much better than Licensed to Ill."
Right.
I mean, because it was just the way they blended everything.
Yes.
That record again. That record is very much like Kinda Blue in terms of I play that once or twice a week.
Nice.
For the same reason.
Okay.
And I have the same kind of I can just listen to it. I don't have to be concentrating or whatever. I can
Sure.
just let it kind of flow over me. I love that album.
Now, do you, in your house, is there ever a situation where, like, say you put something on and then somebody comes to you and they're like, I don't really feel like listening to that right now. Can we mix it up?
That's just Gilly. Who says that?
Never the kids.
Never the kids.
Nice. And do
just
you?
Gilly.
Okay, honey.
Yeah, of course.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I lose every time.
Yeah.
No, and it's normally it's either I have it too loud. She wants it either turned down, or it's that I'm playing some type of rock from 80s forward that she doesn't like, because she's all 70s rock, loves 70s rock, and then she's all hip hop and rap.
Okay.
So anything I could put on any hip hop rap album, generally she won't get upset. There's some newer stuff that she doesn't care. She doesn't care so much for, like the murder rap type stuff.
I thought that I gleaned from that chat with her that she, and maybe subsequently you told me too, that you guys had spent a little bit of time in the jam band circuit.
Oh, huge! So she's on Fish and
Widespread.
Yes, that's
okay.
So she did it a ton more than I did. I've been to probably, I mean, I've only been to 5 shows. I think you've been to like 67, right, or something. That.
Yeah,
it's something like that, right? It's insane.
I did in August see 3 nights in Atlantic City, which were 78, 79, and 80.
Oh my god, it's awesome.
God, it was a blast. It was so fun. I mean, usually if I do something like a 3-night run like that, like I got a couple of fluff days on either end, so I can just, if I want, do absolutely nothing. Make sure I bathe, make sure I eat.
Sure.
But to have that, and then all 3 nights just on the boardwalk until we felt like
till it.
So she's 70s rock, rap and hip hop, but also okay.
I mean, the jam bands to me, they fall in the 70s genre closer for her.
Yes.
Because she loves Creedence, loves that type of music.
So Paul's been called the $1 million record, the record that you will never be made ever again. Right. I've never checked or looked it up, but it's like they were able to put it out with all the samples and didn't have to pay any royalties.
Correct.
And then
it was before it happened.
And then nobody has ever tried to come after them since.
No, I think whatever. Again, I should know this as an attorney, but maybe the statute of limitations or whatever is going on, it's where they got away with it because the law changed and the law was not retroactive. It's just
fascinating
going forward.
It feels like there would be somebody trying to make it, hey, let's get that retroactive piece out of there so we can go get money for these other people.
It would be a huge, because there's tons of people that did so much stuff in the late 80s, early 90s before the laws changed.
Yeah, Sex Packets, Digital Underground was the record, which I think it also is 89. It's somewhere right in there. That was where I was like, wait, they're crediting Parliament and these other, they've taken portions of songs and plopped them. I was like, you can do that? And it turns out if you know your stuff, you can do it really well.
Oh, really well.
I mean,
and that is Ad Rock's influence on the Beastie Boys, from what I've gleaned from. He's the one, he loves the samples. He's got tons of samples.
Nice.
He would just, before Hello Nasty, that's all he did was collect samples for like 2 years while they were figuring stuff out.
Cool.
And stuff. So it's always it's interesting to just see like kind of each of their own, how each one of their artists brought kind of different things to it.
There's a dude, he's changed his handle, so I can't recall it off the top of my head, on Instagram, and his the thing that he does is that he breaks songs into their own tracks, like the way that I guess they were plugged in when they were recording, and he's done some Beastie Boys stuff, and like it's really wild. Like I can't remember the details now, but there's one track. I think he did Sabotage, honestly. And he figured out that the way that they got that sound was like this Hello Kitty microphone that one of them found, and so that's how you get. And I was like, wow, okay. So I think my favorite thing, I mean, about the record's history or whatever, is this Chuck D quote. It's been the dirty secret around the black hip hop community that this record had the best beats on it. Yeah. And I was like, dude.
Yeah, that's a hell of a quote.
The black hip hop community at that time was like the cornerstone of hip hop, and they're all like, Paul's Boutique has the best beats.
Dude, Hey Ladies, that, I mean, right from the get-go is amazing.
Yes.
Like, and it just goes off. Shatrack on the B-side is amazing. There's so many good beats on that record.
So I was going to ask you to rate your Beasties fandom on a scale of casual to super fan, but I think you answered that. So for me, I know the discography is like 7, 8, 9 somewhere in there, but License, Paul's, Check Your Head, Ill Communication, Hello Nasty, and In Sound from Way Out. Those are the 6 that I know well.
Yeah, sure.
The others, no disservice. It just happened that way. So can you rank those 6? Or do you want to, if you want to include all of them, that's fine too.
Okay, so Paul's Boutique would, in terms of albums, would be, in my view, their best album. So it gets tough because, honestly, I love that Ill Communication, but then there's another one that's called the Root Down EP where they do like 4 things of Root Down, which are great cuts.
Okay.
And then on top of it, it's got 2 or 3 songs that's more of their punk stuff.
Oh.
That's awesome.
Okay.
So I really like the Root Down EP, but definitely the first 2 is Paul's Boutique and Ill Communication. Those are the 2, in my view. Just those are the best albums. Those albums are amazing. Root Down EP. Then I really like Hello Nasty, and then I mean the original one's great.
Sure.
So I'd go there.
I think it's just that, like, like I said, I was totally plugged in for Licensed. Paul's Boutique slipped past, but then Check Your Head and No Communication it came out. But I was like never home, and that I used to close the door to my room and listen and have the liner notes and geek out over all the. Anyway, by the time those 2 come out, I'm working and partying a ton, and I'm just so it's like I'll show up at a party and What You Want or something's playing, and so I know some stuff, but I'm not dialed in like I was for Licensed. And then Hello Nasty comes out when I was in college.
It was
and I had by that time, I've been able to sort of bring the others into my fold, and I was just so geeked out that they were still doing it.
Yeah.
And there was something about the production quality. Everything felt so crisp and clean on that record. I mean, even the
well, because again, that's mixed master.
I know, but it's so much more audible and like there's a lot of cleverness.
Yes.
I mean, and I default to this line unfortunately too often, but so many great little nuances, like I'll stir fry you in my walk.
Yeah.
I mean, and then you get and so many pockets of just genius to me.
It's very well.
I still love the cover art.
Yeah.
So anyway,
it's interesting because you were saying with the Chuck D quote of it's like Paul's Boutique, they hit the beats hard and did a great job with that, and then Check Your Head, Ill Communication, they kind of get more grimy, funky, type thing, and then then it is
literally booty shaking.
And then it's then when you get to Hello Nasty, you're right. It gets much more. It gets cleaner.
These guys are pros.
Yeah,
I mean,
they know what they're doing. They're fun.
So
they're
good.
fun. It's too bad that they won't make any more music.
I know. R.I.P. in peace to MC. Is it MC or
MC,
okay.
Yeah.
Man, and then just you can't be a 70s or really an 80s baby and think about music or talk about music and not, at least on some level, include music videos.
Yes.
Right? They're just part of the fabric.
Absolutely.
Like
we're MTV generation.
And so I mean they took it up more than one notch with is Sabotage, the gangster. It's like a movie.
Yeah, the 70s movie.
And you look at that and you're like, this couldn't have been cheap to make.
Yeah, I mean, they made a movie,
right?
Like it was great.
And you look at that and you're like, well, where? So all this money went into the making of this. Like, how is it generating money to be returned to the ads? I guess is the answer. But like, what a clever. It's like, by the way, I know you're making an album right now, but
yeah, they included and make a cinematography. They're creative enough to be able to also do that genre.
Right. Yeah.
It's
good stuff.
It's great. And
true pioneers, man.
Yeah, and if you watch some of their older videos too, but everyone knows Fight for Your Right, which is it's a fun video. Don't get me wrong, but like the Hey Ladies video is hilarious.
Nice.
And the we talked about Sabotage. The video that has Q-Tip in it.
Oh shit. I'm drawing a blank.
Sure Shot. Sure Shot is a great. That's a fun video. Okay. Also,
I need to revisit these. So, did you say? Hey Ladies.
Hey Ladies is a great fun video.
Sure Shot. Just those two.
Yeah, Sure Shot has Q-Tip in it. And it's
nice.
That's a great.
So I'm gonna grab a couple more of those because I seem to it's a homeopathic doc, but she's made tinctures.
Made what?
Tinctures.
What is that?
Like droppers in a vial.
Oh, okay.
Out of the
really?
placenta pills. So it's supposed to like give you a little immuno boost.
Yeah.
It's supposed to help her.
Yeah.
When she starts her period,
sure.
And then it's also, I mean, Anna took the capsules orally to help with postpartum.
Oh yeah.
And then again, it'll come back into play for her for menopause.
Sure.
So anyway, I feel like every time they come here, they're coughing and sniffly, and so I load them up on drops. I make sure there's vegetables, vitamin C gummies, and then send them out. And it seems like they're on the mend, and they come back. And so, of course, I'm not immune to all of the stuff too. So sometimes I'm like, have I been sick for a month? Like, this is just.
It seems like the fall, especially with Gilly teaching at the school and stuff. Everybody's
Petri dish, 4 Petri dishes hand delivered to your home every day.
Yeah,
good stuff.
No, we're gotta have those good whole foods. Always eat the fruits and veggies, man, and get them down the kids.
Yeah, I do kale smoothies.
Nice.
So
I'm a big spinach and broccoli guy. I eat that constantly.
Okay. Well, they only get like a shot glass with breakfast.
Yeah.
But it's like if everything after breakfast goes to shit for the rest of the day, at least there was some green in there.
So that's my broccoli for them.
Okay.
So they take broccoli for lunch.
Yep.
That's their vegetable. And then generally we have broccoli for dinner a lot.
Broccoli and carrots are the only vegetables I buy outside of greens for this. And that's what's in their lunch, Well,
because broccoli's got a ton of protein in it too.
Yep.
I mean, it's great. It's an awesome vegetable.
So we go from 3 artists that various times and currently I personally coveted to one that I used to talk a lot of trash on.
Who's that?
Green Day.
Oh yeah,
1994 Dookie. And
I told you I love that pop metal crap.
Well, and I think this was so as soon as I had babysitting and grass cutting money, I would go Peaches and then Sound Warehouse and then Warehouse Music.
Yeah.
And on my bike. And I was just always driving home or riding my bike home with a plastic bag full of tapes, just swinging, smacking. And so my sister's 3 years younger than me. And by the time she's, 8th grade freshman, she's got lots of influence from what our dad and our mom listened to, but then now me. But of course she also then kind of blazes her own path. And she became like a huge live fan. Like she dug some Fish and some Widespread, but she plastered this huge live sticker on her rear windshield of her Mazda, and I was like, oh my God, really?
You're in.
I mean, and she really liked Bush too. I was like, you want to throw a Bush sticker on the bumper and make it a whole. But she probably right around the time I'm leaving the house. Because I graduated in '93. she was into Green Day, and I think she had Kerplunk and Dookie.
Yeah.
And I remember being like, what the fuck are you,
What's wrong with you?
But these guys, I mean, they just fucking put out a record in 2020.
I
know. Which is called
and my kids like it.
Father of All Motherfuckers or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know the name of it, but they've got a couple songs my kid listened to.
Okay,
So
okay.
They enjoy it.
So this is record 3 of 13 for them. How did they wind up?
So this record for me is total guilty pleasure. It just reminds, it's nostalgia of high school, like rolling around at Miege. This was constantly playing at every party, at just in everyone's car.
Right.
Just all my memories are of this. And it's funny, Gilly and I always talk about. So for her, it was 311.
Okay.
And
it's kind of a Green Day cousin of sorts.
Yeah, well, I always tease her that because she grew up kind of O'Hara on the other side of the tracks. So I'm like, yeah, you got a little grimier. I'm a little more poppy.
What was grade school and middle school for you?
St. Peter's.
Oh, okay,
dude, I'm a St. Peter's guy.
And
so
how did Miege wind up the destination?
So I toured Rockhurst and Miege.
Okay.
And just when I toured Miege, I was like, this is where I want to go.
Cool.
I felt better. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I was one of like 4 guys to go
from St. Peter's. Are you still buddies with them?
No. Who I met it's funny, it was the visitation guys. There were like 4 of them who went, and one St. E's guy. They went to Miege, and we all kind of got to know each other again because we like rap and Paul's Boutique and things like that. Those are the guys that I met.
So we've got Billy Joe, of course.
Yeah.
Mike Dirnt, fascinating last name, on bass, and Trey Cool on drums. And I mean, they, I think kind of ideal path. Like they formed and then like put out some stuff, and it like turned enough. It wasn't on a major,
right?
But it turned enough. And then I think maybe Kerplunk was still not on a major, but it moved a lot of units,
right.
and then
Dookie came
people
out.
were like, we gotta have,
yeah.
But I mean, they just beyond this record,
beyond this? I've seen them live like 3 times, and they put on a great show.
I'm sure.
I'm finding it, and maybe you can help me now. I'm finding it hard in this day and age to find really good rock shows. Like, so I really enjoyed Jack White. We went to Jack White here.
I heard that was super good. He was a phone in the pocket thing.
Yeah. You couldn't. We left everything left everything in the car. That was an amazing show.
Everybody I've talked to that was there said the same.
Yes, it was absolutely amazing. That's the best rock show I've definitely been to in probably 10 years in terms of just rock. But before then I've seen a couple of Green Day, and they've been good, but that's what I've just been looking for, people to have a good rock and roll show. Because
I went to like October 19th, I think it was, to a show at Liberty Hall.
Yeah.
Kurt Vile.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't stopped thinking about.
Okay, I'm gonna. If he comes back around, I'll have to check that out.
Dude, it was so freaking good, and he had like a 3 or 4 piece, 2 of which were female opener that they did like 10 tracks. I mean, it was like most of an hour. I thought it was going to be like 3 tracks and out.
Yeah.
No, and they were a little bit heavy. And then he and Adam Grandisiel were the 2 War on Drugs guys, and then they went their separate ways, sort of.
I love War on Drugs. Again, not heavy, but
I saw them at Grinders this May, June somewhere, and it was fun. I liked it. I was disappointed to learn that they just same set list every night.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Come from spoiled background where
right where you're used to what are you gonna get next thing you know you're getting the white album, right? Like it can just happen.
Exactly.
You're like, what?
But I haven't been to Liberty since. Well, no, I saw a show there in like 07, 08, but I was down on the floor. I bought seats for this show, and it's super tiny and compact and uncomfortable up there.
It's funny you bring Liberty because that's the first place I saw Green Day.
Okay.
That's in high school.
Okay.
Like, that was one of the first concerts that you go on. I got to go on a weeknight. It's school night. I'm just a sophomore, and these juniors are like, hey, we're going to the show. And my mom's like, yeah, you can go, and I get to go. And
be home by 11.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and then, from Brookside, driving out to, Wyco, and you're like, where am I? This is the city.
Yeah.
Like, holy cow, this is different. It was awesome.
But I cannot stop thinking about that show. It was so freaking great. And so I'm right now, I'm a couple or three records getting current. So like I knew one of his records, and then he put out a new one in April. I listened to that before the show, and then there's a couple in between, and then there's like 5 or 6 before.
I will have to check it out.
I'm not finding a whole lot that I absolutely love from his early stuff.
Yeah.
But there's the one record I knew before the show is just, there's 5 or 6 tracks on it that are just like medicinal.
Yeah.
And then the new one's really good. I really, really love the new one, especially because the cover is him sitting on a log in the woods with his 2 daughters, and he's got a big alligator hat/mask on, so you can't even see his face.
Okay.
And it's just like, girl dad, what's up?
Yeah, love it.
So anyway, I just bought him on a whim, and then was just all night, and still just kind of glowing from how incredible it was.
Check it out. War on Drugs on vinyl is awesome. That's
so when A Deeper Understanding came out in 18 or 19, I fell like hard for that, and I like just couldn't take it off.
Yeah.
And so same deal. Now I gotta go Slave Ambient and the other stuff, which all of it I like, but nothing's even close to that record for me. And they put out a new one a year, and I haven't gotten all the way through it more than once.
Yeah.
It just hasn't clicked yet, but I mean, I absolutely love that record. It is so freaking good.
It's a great album.
So I went to Pitt State for a year, and then moved to Colorado, took a year off, got residency, and then wound up at Fort Lewis down in Durango. And I was kind of just, my friend circle was just the college newspaper staff that I immediately joined, and I'm still kind of tight with some of those folks. And one of the most vocal music opinion by far, this guy Alex was just way into punk.
Yeah.
And still is. I mean, he's still like, anyway. I remember hearing, like, I think I lobbed it to him, like, hey, what do you think about? And he immediately discarded, Green Day.
Sure.
I think he's like since retracted. I mean, this is 20 plus years ago, but Bad Religion, Offspring, Rancid, Social Distortion, Green Day together are credited with pushing punk into mainstream America.
Sure.
And so I read that, and I was like, I wonder if that is like a universally accepted thing in that genre's community. Sex Pistols, John Lydon. So there we are fending off all that, and it pisses me off that years later, a wank outfit like Green Day hop in and nick all that and attach it to themselves. They didn't earn their wings to do that, and if they were true punk, they wouldn't look anything like they do. And then the next quote I see is from Brett Gurewitz from Bad Religion. They're a punk band, but punk is the legacy of rock and roll, and Green Day are the biggest band in the game. So totally kind of offsetting what the other dude had said. And I mean, 10 million copies of Dookie.
You enjoy, your head bobs, and you get pumped up listening to that album. Like, it's a fun album.
If nothing else, the riff from When I Come Around. And 75 million records overall. Yeah. Which is, who else sold 75 million records? The Police. I mean, and they're kind of heralded in the, whatever, in a slightly more snobby musical genre for being geniuses, and so if you want to say some shit about Green Day, like, look at the units they've moved. I mean, people love these fucking guys.
I think it really spoke to a lot of people our age, and that's, because again, it was something fun. It was definitely exposing, Brookside and suburbia to to punk music.
Yeah.
That's absolutely true. Because
Yeah.
I definitely had two friends. They're my close friends now, but back in high school they weren't. They were the guys who wore like the black leather jackets, you know, and
Sure.
stuff, and they listened to
Wallet chains.
yeah, and Rancid, and you know, the Ramones and all that stuff, and which is great music, but which I didn't get into until college.
Right.
And they were absolutely, they hated Green Day, you know.
Oh,
but now they
See?
they totally come around.
Yes.
Like it's, you know, because now we're in our 40s and they're like, well, that's pretty good now,
I mean,
you know, and they're
they were
still
doing the
making
thing and still
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So one final leap. So that was only a 5-year leap. We go 94 Green Day to 99 with Californication.
Yes.
Red Hot Chili Peppers. When I moved out to Colorado, a couple people like they were like. So I learned about Jane's Addiction in 8th grade,
Yeah,
and
great.
there was like I love Jane's, but before I had a chance,
That's one of Gilly's favorite groups.
before I had a chance to get to know them myself, I heard stories of like I don't know, these guys seem a little scary maybe.
Yeah.
And then out in Colorado, I met a couple from Ohio that were really big music heads, and they were like, we saw them in New Orleans, and Kiedis came out and it was like, sitting on a sack of beans. No, fuck you. We're not playing that until y'all start buying shots or whatever the thing was. And I was like, oh my God, like what? The show will only go on under these conditions.
Yeah, if you don't drink and get screwed up.
Yeah.
That's
But some of the 3 singles from this, whether you wanted to or not, they just got in there, and you know, like in so many turns.
Yeah,
you go over here. Oh shit, it's fucking still feeding me.
That's why I like this album of all their albums. This is the album that I like the most.
I didn't realize. First of all, can you imagine if you started a band in high school? And you're still in it now,
and still making music, because they have a new album out it's pretty good.
I've heard
it is.
Multiple people have said it's pretty good, and I think they're touring in support of it. And I maybe have seen a thing or two where people like saw the show last night and it was a lot of fun.
Oh, really? So I've never seen them in concert.
Okay.
So I've only ever listened to them. I'd love to see if they came around. This album for me was my junior year. College, I studied abroad.
Where?
And, so I studied 4 months in France and then 4 months in Italy.
Wow.
And just like, it was kind of this, KU did this like Western Civ thing. So instead of going to any of those classes, you go do this Western Civ stuff, but it was like a semester, but then like an extra, you know, like, cause like it was weird. My junior year was weird because I left like in August, and then I got back like in February.
Oh, damn.
And I was done with school. I took a couple
hammered out a year and a semester and a half.
I took like one or two credits, you know, to get to like 15 that spring semester. But that's the way it worked out or whatever. But I just which was ridiculous for me to be in Lawrence because I turned 21 and you know I had nothing to do but have a great time. But I listened. This was one of like 5 albums on CDs that
you had with you.
That I had with me.
Make you think of home.
Yes, and so it's just like again, it's more nostalgic,
but
it's fun.
Yeah,
but it's fun, and just I think again, Anthony Kiedis, his voice is great. Flea is hands down. He's an amazing bassist and you know amazing musician. So
you know, California dudes, just like Green Day, you got a lot musically happening in the '90s in California and in Oregon, Washington, and you know. There's a number of things that kind of makes all those tied together, you know, and it's rock or you know a new iteration of rock, and then drugs. I mean, lots and lots. I didn't realize how much drugs were a problem for multiple people, and like John Frusciante,
came and went, back and forth.
2 records,
and he's back now. I think in the newest record.
Yes, but he came back for this one.
Yes,
and it was hard. Apparently it was hard for him. I mean, he left because the fame was kind of, and then he depressed and drugs and all this stuff, and then he came back and it was sort of trying to reacclimate to bandmates, to the work of putting together, you know, I think he kind of had to baby steps his way into like sort of feeling comfortable.
No, and he came back and he made helped him make a great album. I mean,
So
you
good.
can definitely tell anyone that he's on.
Yes.
It's hands down their better work.
I forgot, you know, I put this on and I was like, I definitely know some shit from this record, but I've never sat down with it.
Yeah.
So opening track, Around the World, has an amazing little pocket of funk to kick it off.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is so, and then I was like, oh, wait a minute, I know this song, but I totally had not remembered that little vignette of just groovy. Great way to kick it off. I mean, again, 120 million plus records sold for these guys.
How many they sold that one?
I think in all, you know.
Yeah.
But Scar Tissue.
That was the song. Like I listened to
such an anthem.
Yes,
I mean,
it's such an anthem. It's a great song. Anthony Kiedis' voice was just, you know, it's essentially, to me, it's better than what's the one under Blood
Sugar Sex Magic.
Yeah.
What's the track?
Yeah.
Under the Bridge.
Under the Bridge. Yeah. Everyone loves that one. That's great. He took it to another level with this.
Absolutely.
Scar Tissue is so much better.
It's so good.
Yeah.
And so we had for sure. Oh, I guess when they got together, they wrote these in Flea's garage studio.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And they wrote 30 to 40 songs for this record.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then, you know, skinnied down to 15. So a couple of interesting things to me, like one of those guys probably had a relationship with one or more of those tracks that didn't make it on, and then you still gotta, you know, I really love that one, but there's that, and then there's that shit's out there somewhere.
Oh yeah. No,
so one of these days,
it'll come out eventually.
But okay, so Scar Tissue, right into Other Side. I was just like, dude. Well, I mean, again, just track listing, track sequence.
Yeah, as you were saying, like with the Run DMC thing, that on Californication, those first 5 songs are just amazing. I mean, you feel great. You don't even have to listen to the rest of the album. It's awesome.
Well, I mean, Scar Tissue into Other Side, and then you go into Get on Top, which is a really aggressive transition.
Yes.
It's like, oh shit! Yeah. All right, just make sure the tables are bolted down.
Right.
And, so this, the other thing about the title track is I never noticed before listening to it for this. Just real gentle pockets of some keyboards in there, which are beautiful. And I was like, how have I never heard that before? Probably because I never put on headphones. But anyway, this record surpassed the Blood Sugar Sex Magic sales in 3 weeks.
Oh, did it really?
Yeah, and that was a huge record for them.
Huge record. That's, you know, and when you listen to Californication now, and like still with just everything that's going on in the world, it's just funny to, you know, because they made this back in right around 99, 2000, right?
Yep.
And so everything that's gone on or was going on just in California or what he's writing about, it's kind of like a lot of it's come to fruition in the world,
right?
You know? And you're just like, here we are, guys. Here we are. Great.
Oh, wow. William Goodwin from Billboard said you couldn't exist in American pop culture without hearing the singles off this record, exactly. It's like I'm working in a kitchen over here, and some kid wants to have a turn with the tunes. And go ahead, or get in the car and a rental car in some random city, and it's just on FM radio, and it comes just everywhere. Savior was a nice surprise treat for me, and then there's a fun little groovy riff in Right on Time.
I like Right on Time.
And then they close it with Road Trippin', which is this weird, chill vibe,
and that can like because I would be listening to that like on a bus, you know, a lot of times because we'd be traveling. My God. And so like at the end there, it's just kind of like,
right,
good night.
Yeah.
You know, like that'd be the one.
Anybody have a blankie?
Yeah, exactly. You snuggle with the sweatshirt you have on and go to bed.
So, where did you and Gilly meet?
So we met on St. Patrick's. We met here on St. Patrick's Day at Embassy Suites.
Okay.
Like my again, high school buddies, those same guys from Visitation in St. E's. We would rent out a room at Embassy Suites every St. Patrick's Day, go down to Westport.
Really?
Have a blast.
Okay.
You know, blah, blah. And Gilly happened to play college volleyball with a girl I went to high school with. So then Gilly, we were like, hey, coming out, and so Gilly came.
She went to O'Hare, and
she
then
went to O'Hara, and then St. Mary's College.
Where's that?
It's in Leavenworth.
Okay.
And then she went to Pittsburgh.
Oh.
And that's where. So
okay.
she played volleyball at St. Mary's College, and then she was the grad assistant coach at Pittsburgh.
Oh wow.
Volleyball coach. So
you guys met on a St. Patrick's.
Yeah, just like friends getting together. She was another friend that came along. And fortunate for me, I was one of the few guys that didn't either piss, shit, or puke myself, So it was like at the end, I was like, hey, I'm the winner,
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Because that honestly happened with all the rest of my friends. And did one or the other, or if one of them would like get in a fight,
Well, it's the weirdest, thing to consider, like going out and like, okay, this is the one day of the year that I'm really, really, really gonna get after it.
Right.
And it's like you're not gonna be able to handle that. Like
right.
You don't wake up one day and go run a half a marathon without any practice.
You gotta trade.
Yeah,
yes.
You're not gonna like walk into a courtroom having not studied law and be like, I'm here, you guys.
Yeah, let's go.
Do I sit here?
Yeah. Let's pound, 12 shots of Irish whiskey and do some Guinness.
Yeah.
It never ends up well for anybody.
So if you found yourself in a scenario in which money is no longer an issue, an object, an issue, it's just all of the people and all of the folds of both sides of your guys' family are taken care of. I know you got kids that you're still raising, but I mean, what does life look like? I mean, obviously you could choose to continue to work if you wanted to, but
sure.
What does life look like while they're still under your roof, and then what does it look like once you're empty nesters?
Ooh, well, right now, while they're under our roof, it's really just enjoying as much. I mean, as you know, you're a dad. It's enjoying every activity.
Yes.
Just trying not to be tired and, just saying, yeah, I'll do it, and going to all their stuff and then supporting them and having fun doing it. And at the same time, finding some time for Gilly and I to get out and go do stuff together.
Make that happen from time to time?
Yeah. She's coaching right now.
Yes.
And she's the PE teacher. And so last couple months have stunk in terms of that, but we're getting back to it. And when this will be over here in this, the city tournament's over, then she's done with it. But we always try to go on, 1 or 2 trips a year to just
the two of you.
Yeah, we love to go to New Orleans, of
nice.
course, so we can go there and back see a bunch of. We've gotten to the point where we no longer even go to the Quarter because we've just found so many other different places to go, and it's awesome. But then, when the kids, I think the kids are all said and done, what we love. So Gilly has, as you know, so many different talents. She's a really good chef. She's also really good at mosaic and doing art and stuff.
Oh, wow. Okay.
She's a really good artist, pottery and stuff like that. So, I mean, I would love, one, I don't think I'll ever completely stop practicing law just because I worked hard for this degree and you can make money doing it. If you don't take a lot of cases, you don't have to work. I can work 3 or 4 cases and I could just work 10 to 15 hours a week type of deal.
Okay.
Versus having to work what I work now.
Sure.
And so if I could travel around with her and just going to her art shows to show her art, like not like the Brookside or Plaza, but like maybe smaller venues,
sure. Super fun.
Travel around. We're both big road trip people.
Nice.
I like flying. I'm happy to fly. She does not like flying. And so I can definitely see us having kind of a
anxiety
RV.
Over turbulence kind of thing. I'm right there with her.
Falling out of the air.
Yeah.
She is just convinced,
I'll put myself through it. To save I used to love road trips, but now if I can save a day, sure.
Yeah. We need to, especially when you're, dad with 2 kids, man.
Yeah. I went to see a show in Austin. I think it was 2019. But it was like KC to Houston and then Houston to Austin.
Yeah.
And had a good time at the show, and then I don't know what my problem is. When I'm booking flights, I'm always like, oh, if I take the 5 a.m., then I have part of the day. It's you're also a guy that we should stay up till 4. you know. So I had one of those, and I had a shuttle come into the hotel at like 3, and I think I got to my room at like 2. So I literally I set like 46 alarms, and I had 1 hour of sleep.
Yeah.
And so flight from Austin to Houston was one of these go outside kind of deals.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, fuck, I feel like dog shit. Like, and then the plane takes off, and I'm like, and it's just in here, right? It's like I might need medical attention.
Like, yeah,
and so like I'm just trying to get through it, and just every little thing is just playing. And so the stewardess is coming through, and I was like, I need a little bit of help. I don't feel good. And she's like, do you mean like divert? And I was like, go back to what you're doing. Like,
please God, don't let me be that guy. Yeah.
Everybody, I'm fine. I'm fine. And it was, like one seat here and then 2 seats. It's that small of a plane. I'm like, you lower your voice a little bit. Like, let's not
we don't need just
into a panic.
Use that word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I am the same way. I just, a comic that hosts a podcast recently was in an episode saying, and somebody who flies every week, multiple times, and just every flight, just crushing anxiety. And then he was like, I don't know why, but it took me, probably dozens, if not 100+ flights for it to occur to my tiny little brain that, the guys and gals flying this, they also don't want to crash.
Right.
So I was like, oh yeah, I never thought of
that. Yeah, the pilot's doing a great. Yeah, he doesn't want to die.
Yeah, so like they got it. They're doing everything they can to.
Yeah. Well, she doesn't like it either. So that's Well, I would say that would be kind of.
Where's the cooking thing come from?
Dude, she's picked it up. You'll have to ask her more about it, but she has always been an amazing chef or cook. Ever since I came back to law school, when I was coming home from law school, so we got together right before I went to law school.
Okay.
And so everybody else would be going out partying and drink their ass off, the way they do in law school, and I would get to come home to her, and she just had these amazing meals.
Dang.
She was in social work doing stuff down at Bishop Sullivan Center and stuff, and it's just kind of an outlet for her. She really enjoys it. Her and before the pandemic, her and Laura White were doing this cooking thing where they were providing meals.
Is that one of the nurses?
Yeah, Nurse White. They were doing this thing. They had this business to where they were providing St. Peter's family meals to basically families that didn't cook. They're both 2 professionals, couldn't cook, whatever, and they ended up having like 20 people, and they did this for a year and a half.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it was awesome. And so she just loved it a lot, and she still loves it.
Sure.
She still does it all the time. She's just...
Now, do both of you bring work home in some form?
Yeah, I mean, now she's definitely with teaching. She's got to do that, and I have work that I have to deal with the court system and stuff.
This grandiose idea that I've never even been able to, hold on to it for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
But of having, a pocket on Sunday or whatever to kind of make a meal and at least set myself up with like 1 or 2 dinners that I can come home and nuke.
Yep.
Just never. It's always, and sometimes it's like, okay, we're rolling home at 8:45, 9, and we got to eat and bathe and maybe do homework too.
Yeah.
Do you guys are you guys able to have dinner at a reasonable time?
Or? Yeah. So what we found is it takes communication. So I cook too. I'm not nearly as good as her, but I can survive. Like I can make a protein and a vegetable and something.
Yeah.
I can get this together. And so we really rely heavily on basically every night before we're communicating, and we go to the store. We go to the store almost every day.
No way.
We don't buy because I hate rotten food.
Yeah.
I hate wasteful. It drives me nuts.
Yeah.
And like back in the day when the kids would like take a bite of one apple and stuff, I'm the guy I'm shaving that off and then I'm cutting it off. I'm like, look, you got apples too now,
right?
I hate that crap.
Yeah.
And so I don't like Costco because the the produce from Costco. Costco's good for coffee or whatever, but like
I think that's one of their slogans.
Yeah,
come on in. We're good for coffee.
Coffee, it's fine. But like, I don't want to buy like 2 pounds of asparagus, right?
No.
I want to go buy a little thing of asparagus, and then I want to have my fish that goes with it.
Yep.
And so we really try to do that.
Do you guys chop it up, price chopper?
We're all over. So we are Aldi, Price Chopper, Costantino's, Whole Foods.
Okay.
Because it's exactly what you're
Sluts,
saying.
You guys
totally.
are.
Well, because when you do it every day, or every other day or whatever, it's totally like what you're saying is we're running around. It's just like, what's close? So that determines a lot of where we're going is what's close. And then based on what's close, that's how we determine what we can cook. Because I'm not getting fish from Aldi, though I'm told their salmon's amazing. I'm probably not going to get fish from there. I'll get it from Whole Foods or
so you guys are communicating every day about what dinner tonight is going to look like and who needs to stop where.
Yeah.
But I mean, so are you able to sit down in some fashion at a reasonable time, or is it late-ish?
So generally, Gilly gets done with practice. We've kind of set it up to where she gets done between 4:45. Like tonight I wasn't feeling well, so I made chicken soup with a bunch of vegetables in it, and she got home at 5, and then I was meeting you here at 6:30.
Right.
So I got it all ready. I went back, got back and did my work. She came, and then we had a quick little meal at like 5:30.
Okay.
Call it. It's just food for us is a big thing. So
sure.
I mean, we both like to cook. So
yeah.
That's
I mean, I'm just now in the point, and we're not there yet, but like just getting them to, hey, if you take the last, put it on the list.
Yeah.
We always have a list.
Oh yeah.
I go weekly. Sometimes I can go 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm in this other, like the opposite version of Costco and their 12-pound of spare.
Yeah.
I'm like, I wonder if we can get through this pint of blueberries because I'm gonna come home with it and put it in the fridge, and maybe you guys will eat off of it for one day, and then you're gone for 2 days.
Right.
And I'm.
Yeah, and then it can get moldy or whatever.
Yeah.
And you got it. Yeah, that's.
That's fascinating. So, like, I mean,
it's also 3, dude. I mean, again, you were good to stop with 2. I love my son, but 3's they eat a lot.
Somebody told me college friend from the newspaper staff was just a handful of months ahead of us with their first and their second.
Yeah.
And somebody said, I'm told if you can make the leap from 1 to 2, you can make any of the subsequent leaps. So I just believed that forever. And then I said it one day to somebody that has like 5 kids, and they're like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what?
Dude, 2's a fucking vacation now. Like, and one's like, I don't even have a kid.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like.
My dog is a little bit needy. That's about it.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's like some of my staff who has like dogs, and they're like, well, I kind of have kids. I'm like, no, you don't fucking have kids.
My fur babies.
Yeah.
You know what? You're fired. Like,
yeah. Did your fur baby tell you to fuck off? Because my kid told me to do that the other day.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And I had to not kill her.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Well, we sat down and said we would shoot for an hour. We're over 2 now.
Oh, we really?
So
shoot,
we should
dude.
get you
on
on the road.
Man, we've been chatting. That's awesome, though. Oh, great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome, dude.
Well, thank you. I definitely want to try to connect with your buddy.
Absolutely.
And if she wants to do one,
I'll tell Gilly
I've
about
had
it, too.
very, very few females come. So
dude, she'll come talk your ear off. Yeah.
Yeah. It'll be the
Get ready.
opposite.
Yes.
Like you got to go.
Yeah, exactly. No, she'll totally come do it though. She'd love to tell you. She'll have more stories on her music stuff because it's different. It's fun.
Sure. Well, thank you for doing this. I appreciate it. I'll shoot it your way when it's all out on the things.
Perfect, dude.
Later.
Awesome. That was great. I can't believe we talked. I thought we were talking for like 45 minutes.